Happy Saturday, everybody. I am going to be doing a self-growth Saturday, and I can't wait to really dive in and talk about you. We're going to be talking about focusing on ourselves. We're not going to be thinking about our neighbor. We're not going to be thinking about our significant other. We're not going to be thinking about our pets. We're not going to be thinking about anybody else. We're going to take our finger and we're going to point it right back at ourselves and do some hard looking and soul searching. So glad you're joining me. Hi, Natasha. Great to see you. Again, today I'm going to be doing a self-growth Saturday. It's so important for just life, to develop yourself, to get to know yourself better and really go deeper with knowing and loving and understanding yourself better before you can ever attempt or hope to understand others. You probably hear people say that change starts with us. And that is so true. I found that in my life, very much so. Hey, Kathy, thanks for tuning in. Drop a 1 that you're tuning in live right now and where you're tuning in from. And if people pop on later after this is over and they're tuning into the replay, then drop a 2 and also where they're tuning in from. That would be super so I can see my following and where you guys are all at. So let's dig in. Self-growth Saturday. I couldn't help but wonder to myself, I'm contemplating this for myself as well, how long do you tend to stick with something? Are you someone who, once you make a decision, that you will stick with that decision for the most part and you will give it everything you've got to really see, what the outcome is? Or on the flip side, maybe you tend to start things because they seem like a good idea and you're really like, ooh, look at that. But then maybe something else comes along and you're like, ooh, look at that. And you tend to bounce back and forth between things. And before you know it, you've given up on that initial thing that you started. We have a lot of distractions in life. There's a lot of noise and visual distractions that we are dealing with. And I think this is so important, which is why I'm talking about it. How long do you tend to stick with something? Gosh, we live in a world where there is so much instant gratification, and I think that's part of the problem. But if we become aware of that, then we're able to do something about it. So here would be an example. So maybe when you watch TV, I don't watch TV, guys, really at all anymore. I get sick by watching it. There's so much bad stuff on. It's a lot of lies and very one-sided. But anyway, if you are still watching TV, if you have something where you don't have to watch commercials, then that is something that ties in with instant gratification very much so. Like if you then go maybe to someone's house who does have the regular TV and there's some commercials you have to sit through and you get very impatient, then you have kind of fallen into that instant gratification trap that like you don't want to wait even a short time before the next show comes on. Oh gosh, drop in the comments if you can think of some other examples of instant gratification where we as maybe an individual, as a society, have become very impatient and want things right away. Perhaps that also ties in with our shopping habits. And now with quarantine, COVID, a lot of people I hear are talking about wanting things delivered to their house. I totally understand that. But at the same time, what if you're physically capable and totally able to go to the store? But you're just opting not to because you don't feel like it. There's a lot of instant gratification going on. There has been for quite some time. You think about all the drive-through windows for food and fast food, and why fast food is still able to stay in business is because people like things quick and they like the convenience factor. So just something to consider about yourself. Are you someone who sticks with things, or do you give up very easily? So I would say, how long do you typically keep trying with something and feel like, let's say things are not going the way you would like them to go. So you've been doing something for a while and you feel like you're not really getting anywhere. How long is it before you actually then give up? Do you give up? Well, an important question I'd like to ask you is, how important is that thing that you are trying to pursue? Because if you are, if you're doing something on a whim and it's just like, this seems like a good idea for the moment, then you probably aren't going to pursue it very long, are you? But if you truly understand why you're doing something and why it's so valuable, I think you're going to be more likely to stick with it. So to give you an example, those who know my story know that I went 7 years between like 2008 and 2015 with a very bad digestive imbalance. And I had a very challenging time finding people who understood digestive issues in the medical establishment, who could really help me put the pieces together and figure out how to restore my gut health, how to restore my energy levels, how to restore my life again, because my health was going downhill. And it wasn't like sudden per se. It was over time. It was building up. It was getting worse. And I wanted to be proactive and prevent it from getting worse. And it still ended up getting worse over the course of those 7 years, in spite of all of the effort. I was taking action. I wasn't just sitting at home like, oh, I hope and pray that this is going to go away. Like, I was actively going to medical appointments. I was actively seeking out other opinions. I went down the road of natural health eventually, and thank God I did, because I found a lot more answers that were helpful and were part of my ability to get back on track with my health. But anyway, so 7 years, like when I talk to people about it, they're like in awe. They're like, 7 years? I can't imagine. Like, it was hard for me to have health issues for 6 months. And I'm like, wow, yeah, that does put it into perspective. Why did I struggle for 7 years? Why didn't I just throw in the towel and be like, I'm getting older. Okay, maybe this is how I should feel. Going through all of that in my head. And don't get me wrong, toward the end of the 7 years, I was feeling extremely defeated. My health was not good. I started developing aches and pains and burning in my hands and my feet, which was a brand new symptom. Even after seeking help for 7 years, I started developing additional symptoms related to my autoimmunity. And it was like the last straw for me. It was like, either something's gonna change, I'm gonna have to keep pushing and find the answers I need, or I will throw in the towel. And if I throw in the towel, though, this is what that may look like. This may look like not being able to maintain a full-time job. This may look like moving in with my family so that I can, have a place to live, because I wouldn't have been able to afford my rent if I wasn't working full-time. So guys, how valuable is something to you? Because when you decide, or when you make a decision, it's important that you're making a decision for something that's worthwhile, that you're willing to commit to. And if you're not willing to commit to something for the long haul, then maybe it isn't all that valuable to you in the first place. And as a health coach, I see a lot of people throwing in the towel very easily. As a business mentor and a coach, I see a lot of people making decisions, but then really not fully committing to what they're signing up for. And again, easily throwing in the towel. Like, if something is really worthwhile to you, you can't just do something for a day. You can't just do something oftentimes you can't just do it for half a month, 15 days. You can't do it for just a month, because life is not like that. Things are an ongoing process. It's a journey. It's not a one-time, one-stop shop. It just isn't. And so people understanding that's going to be a huge factor in whether or not you stay stuck, or whether you move forward and you meet goals that you have for yourself. And if ultimately whatever those successes are that you're desiring in your life, You've got to make a firm commitment. You've got to show up, and you can't give up the first time you have a challenge presented to you. You also need support. That is something that is just essential. And a lot of times we try to think, oh, I can do this on my own. I don't need help. And think of how long you were actually able to carry it out. How long were you able to sustain that habit if you, or not even a habit, a behavior, like, if you did not have support and you were trying to do it all on your own. And that's really what health coaches are for. Health coaches like me are to be a support, be a guide, hold you accountable for what you say you want to accomplish with your health and your life, and be kind of call you out when you say you're going to do something and you don't do it. Examining that, like, well, you said you wanted this thing, then what's going on? Why are you not, following those habits that you said you wanted to follow? Where is this breaking down? Hey guys, I see a bunch of people hopping on. Hey, Bonnie, Marcy, Krista, and Lloyd. So do you give up, quit, throw in the towel easily? And I think it's important to think about that question for various things, not just for one particular thing. Maybe it's your food choices. Do you give up, quit, throw in the towel easily with your fitness, your exercise routine? Do you give up, quit, throw in the towel easily when it comes to even just having maybe 30 minutes a day where you do things for yourself and take good care of yourself? So many of us, we spend so much time pointing at other people, or we look at other people. Maybe we're trying to be helpers, which I can relate to, trying to help other people. But what we most need is to turn that around and say, how am I taking care of myself right now? How am I nourishing myself so that I can be filled up, and then turn that around and be able to pour out into others? We cannot pour from an empty cup. It does not happen. It does not work at all, because nobody wants somebody helping them and pouring from a cup that is cranky and worn out and exhausted. It's not going to be effective. So what do you tend to stick with? I'm getting real and raw, by the way, guys. Do you tend to stick with things that are good for you? Or do you tend to stick with things that are plain rotten and no good for you? Do you tend to stick with bad habits? Maybe it's smoking. Maybe it's, again, the food choices that you're making. Maybe it's not getting to bed at a good time. Oh goodness, maybe it's hanging out with the wrong kind of people. Maybe it's talking to people that are very negative and toxic. Do you tend to hang on to bad relationships with toxic people? That ties in with what I'm saying. Do you tend to stick with a bad job? How many people are, and I know I've thought of this before, someone who stays at a job for 30 some years, nowadays it's like, wow, that's amazing. And it is props to that person, because either number one, they love their job for the most part, or number two, maybe they've just sucked it up and survived it. Okay. So sticking with something can be admirable, but you also have to think about, what are you sticking with? Is it worthy of sticking with? Should you be sticking with it? Because a lot of us stick with bad habits and stick with things that are killing us, maybe not fast, but slowly. And that needs to stop if we want to progress and make changes in our life. So do you tend to stick with toxic people, toxic places, toxic things? What are you holding on to? And is it time to cut the cord and be able to be free from those things, because all they're doing is dragging you down, and they're not serving you, and they're not helping you to move forward in your life? So, do you say, if I'd ask you, why are you still doing that? Why are you sticking with that particular thing? I'd love to hear your answers. Are you saying you're sticking with it because it's something you've always done? It is what it is. I hate that. I love the phrase, it is what it is, as kind of a sense of peace, because there are things that we do not have ultimate control over, but at the same time, it can also be a big cop out. Well, this is just how things always have been. This is, like people would say that about speech therapy, the work that I do. Well, there's always been like a boatload of paperwork. There's always been late nights where you have to be on your computer doing IEPs all evening. You know, I have no work-life balance, but this is how it's always been. And I say, that's not an excuse. Like if you have a growth mindset, that is no excuse. Like things, even though they've been that way, they could have been that way for 100 years. That doesn't mean they're right. That doesn't mean they're okay. And that doesn't mean that we can't choose to value something different or to look at options and say, you know what? It may be this way, but I'm not accepting that, and that's not okay with me. There's a lot of complacency of accepting how things are versus looking at the choice that you have and the ability to maybe be one of the first people to say, no, I'm not okay with that. And I'm not going to say yes to it just because it's always been that way. Hey, Gail. Hey, Trudy. Nice. Okay. So Trudy's saying, you know, keep moving on and, you know, growth, not getting stuck in the bad habits. You know, no one's perfect. We all make mistakes. We all will fall back into habits. But what we need to not do, of course, what we need to be careful about is, you know, sticking with those old habits and becoming complacent and just being like, it is what it is. So, oh goodness, I had so much stuff I wanted to share with you. So, you know, with health, thank God I did not accept where my health was going, or I honestly don't know where I'd be right now. I probably would not be coming live to you. I might be in bed sleeping because my health would have been so poor. My energy was lacking as it was 5 years ago. I could be currently living with my parents, unable to work. Or worst case scenario, I may not be here to tell you this story, because that's what happens to people that don't take care of their health proactively. Or also, even if they were trying to take care of their health, were not getting the support they needed and did not find the answers they needed because they were so hidden and so secretive. They don't put it out there on the media. They don't put out the truth. If people get better, they don't make money, guys. So that's a truth bomb if you haven't heard that one before. It's about time that people can get healthier and lead the lives that they deserve instead of this information being hidden. Like, how long has it been that we've known all of these different diseases, all of these different health conditions? How long has it gone? How many people have had to suffer? How many people that we know in our family and our friends and our communities have died due to all different health conditions that could have been addressed, but the information is not put out there? It's been hidden. It's been secretive. People have been muzzled and shut up when they've tried to speak out, been heavily censored. Anyway, I'm going off on a little tangent there, but that's a huge, huge issue that has been going on and needs to stop. Because all of our lives are impacted. All of our health is impacted by whether or not all of us can sustain healthy lives. You know, what happens? What does it matter if I keep good care of my health, but all of the people around me are not? It brings us all down as a collective. You know, if I work with people who can't get into work on time because they can't get out of bed because they're exhausted, or, you know, my coworker passes out because their blood sugar is so low, or, you know, if I have several family members that are suffering from chronic illness and disease, how is that going to wear and tear on me because those that I love and care about are struggling and suffering? Everything affects everything. And so it's imperative, if you've only thought about yourself, let's turn it around. You know, if you think about yourself and you take care of yourself, awesome, props to you. But we also have to care about others, and that they also are, you know, are having their needs taken care of as well, and that the information is out there for not just us, but for everyone. So I'm going to leave you guys with this. There are 5 things, I believe, at least 5 things that we need to give up if we want to be successful. And that can be success in anything. The first one is we have to give up a short-term mindset. we need to not just focus on right now, we have to focus on what I'm doing right now and how is that impacting the end result that I want. So, right now I might want to go outside and I might want to sit outside all day and not do any work-related things. But how is that going to serve me in the future as far as my businesses go? It's not. If I don't put the work in, how am I going to see positive results in my businesses? It's not going to happen. Number 2, we have to give up playing small. We must dream big and we must take massive action. That's huge. A lot of times we might set goals. We might say, this is what I want. But if we don't take any action, nothing's going to happen. I can wish and hope and pray all I want that I'm going to make $1,000 this month. But if I'm sitting outside, I'm not talking to anybody, I'm not working my business, how is that going to happen unless there's some sort of miracle occurring, right? Number 3, in order to be successful, we have to give up the excuses and take personal responsibility for ourselves. Excuses. I've done videos on this before. What excuses do you tell yourself? You got to call yourself out on your own BS, or hire a health coach, hire a coach like me to help call you out on your excuses and your BS, because we all tell ourselves excuses. We all do. We're all human. But again, we've got to catch ourselves in those lies and those excuses that we tell ourselves and take responsibility. Number 4, we got to let go of our need for approval. So if I was worried about what y'all think, I wouldn't be doing this video, right? Like if I thought, oh my gosh, like what are the people on Facebook going to think about this? Oh man, they may not be ready to hear this. I don't know if I should do this. No, you got to speak your truth. You got to get out there. You've got to be yourself and not be afraid to be yourself. No one, like you being fake, or you like hiding yourself at home, not putting yourself out there, does not serve anyone. Like, we need to see you. We need to hear you. We need to hear your story. Just like I shared my health story. How can I ever help anyone if I would have just said, you know what? I feel better. My health is better. I'm just going to, continue on with life and be happy and like, yay, my health is better. But not use any of those struggles and challenges of 7 years to help others. I couldn't do that. But I know there are people that do that, where they just kind of like move on with their life, but they don't really think about what they've been through and how it could help others. So I'm challenging you to consider that as well. Like, what have you been through that could be helpful to others and that could really, really be a light to others. Number 5, we have to be willing to let go of toxic people. And I'm a people person. I really like people. But let me tell you, I've met my share of toxic people. And sometimes you don't always realize it at first, but you do over time. That, no matter what, those people, when things are good, things are good. When things are good for them, things are good. But when, you challenge something that they believe, or, they always want to be right about something. They always want to argue. Like, life is way too short to hang out with toxic people. And we should be able to sit in a room together, have discussions, agree to disagree. Those are the kind of people that I want to be around. If somebody is just coming with a single argument and doesn't want to hear someone else's point of view, I don't have time for that. And I don't want to be in that environment. So don't have time for it. How about you guys? Toxic people can drain and suck the life out of you. And if you are on a mission to do good in the world, the last thing you need is toxic vampires sucking the life out of you. No time for that. Hey, Steve. Hey, Jess. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Aaron. It's so great to see you. I was talking about 5 things we must give up if we want to be successful in life. Got to give up a short-term mindset. Got to give up playing small. Got to give up the excuses. Got to give up need for approval. Got to give up toxic people. So important. So I'm going to leave you with this last thought. Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, let's go. Let's go, guys. Good things come to those who believe. And I added take action. We can believe, but we also have to take action. Better things come to those who are patient. Patience is key. if we do not have patience, we're going to give up and we're going to throw in the towel real easily. And finally, the best things come to those who do not give up. So I would love to hear from you guys either in the comments or private message me. What are some things, or maybe it's one thing, just one thing you want to focus on here in, it's almost June, so maybe in the month of June. It takes about roughly 28 days at least to create a habit and sustain that habit, really get it solidified. And if you're going to give up after a week, guess what? That habit has not been developed enough. So I'd love to hear from you what habit or habits you would like to work on in the month of June. Could be related to your health. It could be related to your finances. It could be related to your finances can kind of go along with your job. You know, are you happy with the work that you're doing? Is it fulfilling? Maybe it's paying well, but you're miserable. You hate your job. There's a lot of people like, excuse me, there's a lot of people like that experiencing that if they're honest with themselves, that it's not in alignment with who they are. I can relate to that in many ways. And let's see here. So yeah, reach out to me. Let me know what you are working on, what you're seeking to shift in June 2020. And if you're in need of support, definitely reach out. I can't tell you how many people, you know, if they do a consult with me, props to them, because that's the first step. Doing a health and wellness consult to dig a little deeper, get some clarity on what's going on with your health and wellness, what's going on with your life. But I can't tell you how many people don't take the opportunity or don't take advantage of a longer term program. I offer a 3-month program that can really help solidify those healthy habits. And where are the people? Where is the line of people wanting the, there just isn't, there isn't that long line. And I pray and, you know, keep putting myself out there that eventually there will be a line, that there will be a line for holistic, natural services instead of this continued focus on pharmaceuticals, vaccines, you name it. Because once you realize, and once you've been through a long health struggle, you realize what truly will be you know, profoundly impactful. And I can tell you from my own 7-year challenges with my digestive imbalance, autoimmunity, and inflammation, the natural stuff is what helped me the most. There's no doubt about it. And it was a holistic approach, holistic lifestyle, and it did not happen overnight. It was not a 1 week, okay, did my 1 week diet, now I'm good. Nope, it was a journey, guys. And so, but the journey is beautiful when you stick with it and you put in the effort, you make the sacrifices short term so that you can have the long-term success. That's where it's at. So thanks so much for tuning in. Have an amazing weekend, but please reach out if you need support. That's what I'm here for. Health and wellness, holistic health and wellness is my passion and my purpose. And when I'm able to help you, you are also giving me the gift of being able to use my gifts and my passion and my purpose. So I'm grateful for you guys tuning in, because you as an audience are validating and helping validate for me that what I have is not going to falling on deaf ears, that people are listening and that they do feel it's important, and that, you know, that you are valuing, you know, to do better and succeed and put your health first. That's where it starts, is you first must value what it is that you're trying to achieve in order to stick with it and not give up so easily. All right. Thanks, guys. It's great to see so many of you. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.